All right. Call the meeting of the Sanborn Regional School Board. Wow. Call the meeting of the Sanborn Regional School Board to order. All right. Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. All right. Do I have action on the minutes for April 13th?
I'll move to approve.
Second. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Manifest documents. I'm finishing up signing the last couple and I will send those around. Nominations, Matt.
Okay, the superintendent recommends Gretchen Solomon for math teacher for the 2022-2023 school year.
Move to accept.
Second. Stereo.
I know. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Resignation.
All right, the superintendent recommends accepting the following recommendations for 2022-2023 school year. I'm going to start off with Amy Phillips, third grade teacher, Tara McLaughlin, fourth grade teacher, and Ryan McCluskey, principal.
No one wants to move that one.
I accept with major, major, major regret.
Second.
Sorry.
I'll just say the same comment I said last time. One of these times we should vote these things down and say we don't accept it. I mean, it's just,
I did ask the attorney the legal impact, and I have the same opinion as well. It doesn't
matter.
matter.
Just makes me feel better.
Okay.
No, but
This is a huge loss for our community.
it is. I wish him the best. He's earned that, but it's a
And-
loss for us.
And Mrs. McLaughlin and Miss Phillips are both a huge loss too, for
Yep.
those that have known them as teachers.
I'd like to read Ryan's letter.
Please.
Okay. This is from Ryan. Please accept my resignation from the position of principal of Memorial Elementary School effective July 1st, 2022. I leave with mixed emotions and tremendous gratitude for SAU 17 and in particular, the special community that comprises Memorial Elementary School. I sincerely thank the many talented staff members I have had the privilege of working with these past 5 years and wish SAU 17 the best moving forward. I would also like to state my decision to leave SAU 17 was based on a unique opportunity that I feel best meets the needs of my family and in particular, my 2 children. I thank everyone for your understanding as well as the outpouring of support that I have had received as I went through this decision-making process. It says, with appreciation, Ryan McCluskey.
Does not make it any easier.
All right. All in favor?
All right.
Sorry.
I'm going to move on to the superintendent's report. The superintendent has 2 items. We'll be sending an email to the community looking for community volunteers for the high school principal search. We are hoping to conduct interviews next week and have candidates interviewed by the board on June 1st.
Sorry, can you repeat go back like 2 sentences? Sorry.
I'll just start at the beginning.
What were we looking for?
We're looking for community volunteers
Okay.
for the principal search.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
And we're hoping to conduct interviews next week and have candidates interviewed by the board on June 1st. Mrs. Rooney will be sending a letter out to the community asking them to participate in interviews next Wednesday from 12 to 6.
And the letter, it did go out this afternoon.
Okay.
Yep.
She will be asking the community members to send their contact information and a brief synopsis as to why they should be considered. Those selected to participate in the interviews will be notified by Human Resources or Mrs. Rooney. Okay. The second item is it's a community update. There are a lot of important year-end activities.
Matt, can I just jump in for 1 second?
Yes.
I'm going to jump off this. I just want to be clear for everybody that the community would also include Fremont community members. It's Fremont, Newton, and Kingston is the high school community.
Thank you.
Okay, the community update. There are a lot of important year-end activities. Please check your school newsletter or websites for those activities. And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Matt. All right. Committee reports. I know not a lot of subcommittees have met. So if anyone has a report, okay.
Go first.
Heather?
Policy meeting met this afternoon. I was elected chair again. Thank you to my fellow members. We reviewed one policy, EEAJ, that is actually being brought to the board tonight for vans to help the athletic program. And we think our next meeting is 6/1 at 5 o'clock, but I'm not sure looking at the committee schedule. So Phyllis is going to get back to us.
Yeah, we had a finance committee meeting on May 4th. The meeting was opened by business administrator Matt Angel. He requested nominations for chair. Ms. Basha nominated Jay Fitzpatrick as chair, seconded by Mr. Edelman, unanimously approved. Minutes of 2:23 not available. They're read at the last school board meeting. They were circulated after the meeting. Will be reviewed at the next meeting. Mr. Angel reviewed his business administrator comments. Electrical rates was one of the topics. In November, we'll get bids for electrical rates. His contract is ending. Currently, we're at 7.1 cents per kilowatt hour. The best bids he's seen to date are 8.5 cents per kilowatt hour. He also talked about group net metering, a solar farm on 125. Kingston issued an RFP and they're working with a consultant to step through options. We would sell power at retail rates and would have to buy at retail rates. We will need to see the financial analysis in order to proceed to ensure that it is beneficial to the district, including the review of all the risks associated with the project. School board would have to approve for the district to proceed. Mr. Angel informed the last meeting of the group was recorded. This has since been distributed to the committee along with the minutes and the RFP. Fiscal reporting, DOE 25 is due in September, coding it into the system now so that it can be automatically generated in the future. Fitzpatrick asked that the committee ultimately step through the DOE calculation in a future meeting. This will be added to future agenda. Change of encumbrances, a discussion on the change of encumbrances report that was generated by month that can be used to see the changes in POs issued to track encumbrance changes. The file available had data through January, and it's now available through April. Revenues and expenses. Revenues as of March 31st were $29,173,000. The major significant activity was a Fremont tuition payment of $943,000. Mr. Angel projects to hit targeted revenue projections. The major items still due are the Fremont tuition and the adequate education grants. Non-health expenditures. Year-to-date spending is $20.35 million. Encumbrances are $8.6 million, and remaining unencumbered is $1.5 million. Health expenditures year-to-date is $2.96 million. Encumbrances are $1.37 million. The remaining unencumbered is $0.6 million. It was agreed by the committee that Matt would continue to provide the reports to the committee, but in the meeting, we will work off the business administrator's comments, which contain the same data. Reserve funds, a special education trust is $241,217. Capital improvement and maintenance fund is $273,078. Unanticipated educational expenses is $200,228. Facilities use revolving fund is $236,333. Mr. Angel noted following the approved items from the last board meeting would be taken from the facilities use revolving fund. Teachers' laptops, 50.7, student iPads, 6.2, Chromebooks, 54.5. Overall total, including the $542,000 contingency, is $1.496 million. Mr. Angel noted the trustees will be changing reporting to quarterly, so trustee managed funds will not be updated monthly in the future, but we're at a quarterly, so they'll be the same data sets until the quarter point change. Contingency withholding, a total of $537,817 will be presented to the board for approval. The discussion occurred on the change of the law in September 2020 that allows the school board to spend contingency funds if they first hold a public meeting. Previously, the required process to spend was budget committee and school board approval, then Department of Education and Department of Revenue approval. When the current contingency was approved, it was approved with the understanding of the previous legal process. Year-end projections for unexpended funds. Current projection is that between $800,000 and $1 million will be returned at the end of the fiscal year 2022. Mr. Angel stepped through his projection analysis sheet. This included being able to address the quote unquote top 3 items. Grants were discussed. Mr. Angel reviewed the grants that we track and how we track separate funds. A budget adjustment was voted on for an IEP change, money coming out of a number of different funds, tuition, connections, consultant, offer, other professional services, tuition, in-state, special education, into other professional services, special education for the amount of $50,851. Motion made by M. Bashaw to approve, second by Edelman, unanimously approved. Chase Field update, Mr. Angel has cost. Jay Fitzpatrick will look up the original estimate for the comparison. District does not have a project management tool, which Mr. Angel is looking to getting quoted. Matt will pull the costs. I will pull the estimates, and we will talk about that at the next meeting. Next meeting is June 1st at, I think it's 4:30, but I'd have to verify. But it's June 1st. And that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Tammy?
Excellence in Student Achievement met last Tuesday, May 10th. I think I forgot to report at the meeting prior to that. I was appointed to chair again. So on our May 10th meeting, in attendance were myself, Mr. Fitzpatrick, Ms. Dutton, Mr. Ambrose, Dr. Haynes, Ms. DeRocher, Ms. Levitt, Ms. Donnell, Mr. Kurzanowski, Mr. Malilla, Mr. McCluskey, Dr. Kennett, and we had some staff with us as well because we were discussing the math curriculum. So we had 2 teachers from the high school, 2 math teachers, Jillian Sparrow and Corey Fielding, and 2 teachers from the middle school, Scott Kramer and Carol Marino. So Dr. Haynes presented to us the results of the secondary math curriculum search. And the recommendation is to adopt Reveal. That would be for grades 6 through 12. The high school teachers who attended our meeting had the opportunity to pilot the program and spoke highly in favor of the ease of student engagement and adoption. And there was a variety of opportunities for independent practice and differentiation. The middle school teachers also highlighted the interactivity and customization capabilities. The committee members thanked the staff for their efforts and expressed their support. Ms. Dutton also commented that she appreciates their enthusiasm for the program. Mr. Fitzpatrick noted that the program will support consistency between grade transitions and the ability for differentiation in practice exercises. My comment was that I very much look forward to implementing an integrated math program. Dr. Haynes noted that due to supply challenges and for professional development planning purposes, they do hope to order the materials as soon as possible. Mr. Fitzpatrick moved to recommend the program to the board at this meeting tonight. Ms. Dutton seconded that, and that's on our agenda to discuss later on, I believe. Dr. Haynes also presented an example of a grade level curriculum overview document that staff will be developing for use in grades K through 8 that will help inform parents about the program skills and concepts for each grade level in a broad, coherent overview. Mr. Fitzpatrick moved to adopt that grade level overview. Ms. Dutton seconded. That was a unanimous vote as well. So our next meeting is on June 15th, and per our new schedule is should be at 5:20.
Thank you.
Yep.
Jim?
Facilities Committee met on Wednesday, April 13th. The meeting was held at Memorial School and was called to order at about 4:30 p.m. Attending were Dawn Dutton, Rick Edelman, Jim Baker, Business Administrator Matt Angel, and Safety and Facilities Manager Dan Doyle. Matt opened the meeting and asked for nominations for committee chair, and Jim Baker was nominated by Dawn, and Rick was seconded, and the vote was unanimous. Mr. Angel then covered his business administrator's report. He reported on a quote for repairing and painting the high school running track. He stated the proposed cost is $128,950. And you'll recall that he presented that quote that night at the school board. A follow-up, I believe, is on tonight's agenda. Is that still on there? Okay. He also noted that a wireless upgrade proposal would be presented at that night's school board meeting. The cost for that is just under $70,000. Mr. Angel then reported on projects at Bakey School. The 2 submersible sewer pumps at the school are scheduled for replacement along with electrical repairs. The cost is $36,820. There was a discussion about the school board's 3-quote policy. While attempted, 3 complete quotes were not able to be obtained. Dawn asked that the quote information that had been obtained be loaded on Google Drive for review, and Rick requested that the same along with a description of the situation. Matt reported that the Bakey sewer pipes were to be scoped and repaired over spring break. There will be repairs to the cement loading dock, also replacement of the concrete stairs at the loading dock and nearby exit with galvanized steps. The entry window and door at the receptionist station will be replaced with a ballistic grade glass left over from Memorial School entrance project. At Memorial School, 4 heat pumps have been replaced. It was reported that the system is beyond life and needs replacing. The oil-fired burners are being used on cold mornings to augment the heat pumps. At the high school, there was a level 2 inspection of the auditorium. That has to do with the safety of the rigging and the lights, et cetera. We should receive a report in a couple of weeks. There was also a discussion of replacing auditorium lighting with LED lights. And Jim asked if the thinking was to replace just the bulbs or the fixtures too. And there was a discussion of the age of the fixtures and feasibility of just replacing the bulbs. The committee asked for a report on the efficiency and related costs of replacing bulbs versus replacing bulbs and fixtures. Mr. Angel is obtaining estimates for 2 utility trailers. The trailers will hold grounds equipment and material that was stored in a building on the seminary property. The plan is the trailers will replace the building for some items, and equipment can be more easily and more efficiently be transported to where it is needed. Delivery of the 2022 Ford F-350 series truck is delayed again. According to the dealer, it will be delivered in July or August. Matt explained that the contract is through a state purchasing program, and he didn't see any clauses that provided a means to mitigate this delay. Rick asked if he could see the contract, and Matt said that he would provide the link. The business administrator's full report is available online with the meeting video. Upon concluding the meeting, the committee adjourned to take a tour of the old middle school. Superintendent Ambrose joined us for the tour. We reviewed the unused portion of the school. A great deal of surplus furniture and other items that had been stored at the seminary campus had been relocated and are now stored in the unused portion of the old middle school. Thereafter, 2 administrators of the Seacoast Learning Collaborative gave us a tour of the portion of the school they are leasing. Many of the rooms have been reconfigured at their expense to fit their needs. The building looked well maintained. The boilers are aging and have occasional issues. Also, there are a couple of exterior metal door casings that are in need of repair. Otherwise, the building appeared to be well looked after. The next facilities committee is scheduled for June 15th, 4 p.m. And please consult the school district website, sau17.net, for access and location details.
Thank you. And I guess now, if no one else has a report, we are on to our student council representative. Jocelyn, you have the floor.
So this was from a little bit ago, but right before vacation, we had Winter Carnival. It went terrifically. It was the first in-person event that we really had in the school in our gym, because in the fall we had it outside just for COVID restrictions. And it was a blast. Everyone had fun. It was nice to be able to get back to some sort of normal. We also, right after break, had Teacher Appreciation Week, and we were able to do a lot of fun stuff and have raffles and a ton of different things for our teachers, just to kind of show appreciation after all of the years that have previously been probably not the easiest for them. Also, our biology kids ran PCR on their genes for sleep, which is a PER3, a core gene of the circadian clock. So kind of like our circadian rhythm and how we sleep. And even though they only tested the DNA of 14 people, the results showed genotypes of all combinations, which is not, you can't always get that because it depends on who the person is and what kind of genotype they get. And it was great to be able to practice like lab skills and use the biotechnology and the mini PCR test that we were able to purchase with a grant a few years ago. So it's awesome that we're now able to kind of start doing more lab scan because the last few years, because there's been a mix of online and in person, they've been doing a lot more online labs. So they were finally able to get a good in-person lab for a lot of the students. Our AP Calculus kids from 2022 just completed their almost year-long journey and took the 4-hour-long AP exam on May 9th. Their preparation accumulated with nearly 3 weeks of review to accommodate the 8 units of college-level mathematics. With many of these students on college pathways that will include or start with calculus, this year of study and practice of advanced abstract mathematics will only help them in any course of learning. So all of the APs also took their test, but calculus was always one of the more classes that you take that you kind of realized after you took it. It is not an easy class, and they just all finished their test, which is really awesome for all of them. And lastly, our bees are thriving, and they were able to split into 2 hives. So now we have 2 hives we have not had a winter, any bees survive throughout the whole winter. And this year we finally did that. So hoping that we're able to have a thriving bee family out there, I guess. That's all.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
All right, move on to public comment. If anyone wants to come up, state your first name, last name, town you're from. I know there was some confusion before, so we're also going to ask for the agenda item you're speaking to, and then
Not necessarily an agenda item, but my name is Terry Hart. I live in Newton. I have 2 kids in the district. I am very concerned about the future of how this district is going.
sorry, it has to be about an agenda item. Is there an
Has
agenda?
to be about an agenda item.
Has to, we
I
can't,
mean,
yeah,
things are coming up and
I know,
teachers and principals are leaving the district left and right, and we can't
I know.
discuss this.
I know. It has to be an agenda item. That's how the policy is written. That's how public comment works, and we have to follow the policy, unfortunately.
And we wonder why nobody's here and why our district is falling apart.
I have to, unfortunately, my job is to follow policy.
Resignation,
I don't know.
because that's on.
I think it could.
I don't know.
Yeah, one,
Well, hold on. I don't know how that works. Matt, do you have any idea?
I think the only way that you would get around it is to waive the policy.
waive what policy?
There's a school board policy that talks about public comment and how it's addressed.
I just have a question.
Yep.
Was resignations on the agenda tonight?
Yes.
It is, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
The
If
issue.
there's no resignations, it wouldn't be on the agenda.
We have to be careful when we're talking about resignation, if we're going about resignations and nominations, if we're talking about personnel. That's my concern.
That's correct.
I have to be careful as the chair. I have to make sure we don't get ourselves in the weeds. That's kind of my job here. So I'm going to go see if I can look up the policy.
I would
and
offer that
clarify.
the item on the agenda about resignations was to announce resignations, not to
Not a
discuss
discussion.
the reasons for resignations or exit interviews or anything else. It was just simply an announcement.
Where's our,
I think from a policy perspective and from a historical perspective, that's correct. But from a Ms. Hart's got points to make, I would suggest sending the board and asking for responses, the points that you want to make, so that we at least understand what it is that you're trying to bring
I'll
up.
send my email, but in all fairness, when I email the board, Jamie, you are the only one who replies to me. And I checked my junk mail, I'm not getting the addresses wrong, it's not getting kicked back to me. But Jamie is the only response I ever get. And I thank you for that.
But I think that's the appropriate means at this point in time, I think, is to send it. I'm pretty sure that everybody gets them. If you validated the emails.
You have it? Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry, what is your name again?
Terry Hart.
And have you emailed me, Rick Edelman? I don't-
gave up emailing probably before you joined the school.
Oh, okay. I looked, because I have every email I've received. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss something. I'd be happy to respond if you send something to me. Okay.
I'm going to contact the attorney before the next meeting and clarify so we can know, we can make sure we're not getting ourselves into trouble because we have to be careful if there's any discussion about any personnel or anything like that. So I have to make sure we can allow public comment on.
And I understand that.
Yeah.
My question was more that at a previous meeting, you stated that there were going to be potentially exit interviews and trying to figure out why all these people are leaving the district. So I guess my concern is, has anything been done? And are we trying to figure out why everyone's leaving the district? I mean, they're leaving droves right now. Every time I turn around, I hear somebody else is leaving. It doesn't seem like anyone's bothered to find out why they're going.
Thank you. I hear you. All right. All right, new business. Public hearing on gift card donations. It is almost
Yeah, it's almost
6:30. So,
I can start discussing it.
yeah.
All right. So Bakey School did a really good job. They partnered with a school store and they did as a fundraiser, and people went online and they purchased stuff through the site. And through that process, they generated $21,020 to be used for certain classrooms. And the breakout is grade K, $5,320, grade 1, $5,605, grade 2, $5,290, grade 3, $3,335, and pre-K, $1,470. So these funds would be used for classroom supplies, anything really that the teacher feels that they need for their classroom. And what we're asking for is to accept the funds.
Move to approve.
You have to wait one more minute because it's not officially 6:30.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Is
we
that
have to
the-
wait one more minute.
Oh, okay.
We have to wait until 6:30. So if there's any public
My
input.
watch says 6:31.
No, mine says 6:29.
Go over
so
this earlier that you
know.
watched us 2 minutes fast.
Got to go by computer time.
We gotta go by cell phone time. 'cause it- There we
Satellite.
go, 6:30. Here we
Oh.
go.
Well,
So I move to approve
Second,
the acceptance of the donation.
I second.
Second. All right. Any discussion?
we need public input.
Oh, yes. Any public input?
No.
All right.
Okay.
Any board comment?
I just want to say as always, thank you. It is appreciated what people do to support the district, and it's well noted. Thank you.
It was a really cool fundraiser.
That's awesome.
Like, it was a very easy fundraiser for parent. Like, literally, you just sent out an email, and if people wanted to buy from the school store, they could buy. And it wasn't, there was no packaging, there was no forms you needed to fill out. Like, so as a parent, and it was really great because you could buy stuff just obviously for your teacher. So great job, Bakey.
Awesome. All right. If there's no other comments or discussion, all in favor?
All right.
All right, unanimous.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, request for proposal decisions. Matt, you want to start with transportation?
Yep. The first one is student transportation. And so the contract for student transportation ends at the end of the school year. And we issued a request for proposal that was due March 31st, 2022. And just to let everyone know, each of these requests for proposal goes out to three major newspapers. That would be Union Leader, Eagle Tribune, and Carriagetown News. And they had several months opportunity to pull together a proposal. The service that's going to be provided encompasses regular student transportation utilizing 77 passenger school buses. We received only one proposal, which is from our current vendor, and that is Salter Transportation. Currently, we have a good working relationship with Salter. And just so that the school board understands as well, I discussed with another transportation company that did not put in a proposal why other companies didn't propose. And what I found out is it's difficult for other transportation companies to find drivers and also to purchase new school buses. So for them to try to move into new territory is very difficult. So they're just trying to hang on to their current customers at this point in time. So the fiscal impact is, let's see, $969,617 for 2022-23. That was $13,739 over the approved appropriation at district meeting. I discussed that with them, and they agreed to move that to the second year of the contract. So the first year of the contract will be $955,878. The second year of the contract will be $1,018,832. The third year will be $1,043,103. The fourth year will be $1,096,136. And the fifth year will be $1,151,703. Now, if you're going to make a comparison of that first year to the prior year, it's about a 2.5% increase. And so I recommend to the school board that they accept Salter Transportation as our student transportation provider and authorize the superintendent to sign any contracts related to the service.
So we have no other bids.
No other bids.
Go ahead.
I just have a question. Do we want a motion or do you want to wait?
I
Can do it
if
either
anybody
way.
I think if anybody has any questions for Matt, we can do that and then we can make a motion.
Okay. These bus contracts also have a fuel rider, right? Where the fuel is not part of the contract. Is that right?
That's correct. Fuel is not part of the contract. We can actually get a better rate on fuel than they can. So we're paying for fuel, all the fuel that they consume at the state's pump.
Okay. So they have to go to the state to fill up?
Yes. So each school bus has its own key fob that's assigned to it,
Mhm.
and they pull up to the pump and they just swipe the key fob and it charges the district.
How's the fuel budget doing?
The fuel budget is okay at this point.
I don't have any other questions.
I just wanted to make a couple of points. This is a 5-year contract. Year 2 is a 3.6% increase, year 3, 3.8% increase, and then the out years are 5.1% increase. So given where we are today economically, and I know that in the second year, they're rolling forward part of what was in their proposal for the first year, which is what Mr. Angel just identified. I just wanted to make sure that it was known that it was a 5-year contract and what the relative differences were on a year-to-year basis.
All right, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Yeah. Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Okay.
Unanimous?
All right, thank you.
All right, student services.
Yeah, so we, at the same time, we issued a RFP for special education transportation, and we utilized the same notice method, which is Union Leader, Eagle Tribune, Carriagetown News. We also put it on our district website. And the service here encompasses special education student transportation, utilizing 14 passenger buses. Again, only one vendor submitted a proposal, which is Durham School Services. Durham School Services is our current transportation provider, and we still have a good working relationship with them. Again, they have difficulties, or like all the other bus companies have difficulties finding drivers and also new buses. The Durham's proposed costs are for 3 buses daily, and they amount to $290.07 for the first year, which is 2022-23, $298.77 for year 2, through $307.73 for year 3, $316.96 for year 4, and $326.47 for year 5. Now, their cost proposal assumes the fuel rates for the life of the contract between $5 and $6 for diesel, and $4 and $5 for gasoline. At the current rate is $234.14 per day.
Any questions for Matt?
Yep.
Jim?
So they don't utilize the gas program,
They don't.
could they?
I can definitely look into it. But the problem is for them, once they're done with our run, they go off to other school districts.
Oh, I see.
Say
Okay.
It's multiple.
So
schools.
we wouldn't be able to
Too
keep
tough.
track of.
Yeah.
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 The other question I have is, so this is a per day cost, but we have no idea what the total cost is?
Well, it really depends. Part of the problem is the transportation for special education is based upon their IEPs. And in some cases that changes on a daily basis.
Right.
Um,
Can you tell us what the budget was for last year for this?
oh, that might take me a few minutes.
Right. Well, I don't need to know right now.
Okay.
But it sounds like a 50% increase. Is that right?
Yes, it is pretty substantial.
Plus, and then on top of that is the gas, the $5 to $6 a gallon.
No, it's included,
Oh, that's included.
included in the price.
Yeah, I think that, because it says the cost proposal assumes the
Assumes
fuel
the
rates of
Yeah.
for $5 to $6 for diesel.
Now, just to kind of clarify on on the increase, what I'm seeing is that there are increases in salary rates, and I've also heard complaints from other bidders that they're trying to bid out for 5 years, not knowing what that rate is for salary, and so they're just having to, of course, they're going to have to absorb it, that risk.
Okay, so 2 more questions. So these were advertised in the Union Leader, the Eagle Tribune, and the Carriagetown News.
Yes.
Is there a trade magazine for bus companies that people advertise RFPs in, or?
I'm sure that there is, but really what happens in the industry is all these companies belong to services that collect all the public notices and
Mhm.
return them back to them. And so they do get noticed. Okay. If a company doesn't provide, belong to one of those services, I'm not sure if I really would recommend them
Mhm.
to the school board.
And I forgot what my other question was.
I remember Jim's other question.
Great.
Whether I do or not, I'll take the time. So Matt, the point that I would make is whereas Salter, a bus company, is holding year 1 to 2.5 to 3%.
Oh, now I remember.
Durham, the bus company or the transportation company is running up rates outside of fuel is running up rates by over 20%. So that'd be something I'd like you to go back and talk to them in terms of, we have a comparative data point. And the comparative data point is 1/10 of your year over year number. And, we've been working together for quite some time. Let's see if we can't work on the ballpoint pen here and do something there.
Another option is it necessary to do a 5-year contract when we're in a high inflation environment?
That's a good point. And we'd be willing to entertain whatever the school board wants to do.
Okay.
But I do have to caution that if they're unwilling and we can't find a service, we're going to have difficulties trying to provide the service ourselves.
Sure.
And we're mandated.
Yeah, we're
Mhm.
mandated. We don't
I
have a
don't think
choice.
they'd be, I don't think they'd be unwilling to perform the services. They may be unwilling to lower the rates, right?
Possibly.
So let me try to incorporate that in a motion if I could. I'd like to make a motion to approve the Durham contract and give direction to the business administrator and the superintendent to continue negotiations with a specific focus on timing and rate. Does that work for you, Matt?
Perfect.
Any discussion?
I need a second.
Second, sorry. Thank you. And any discussion? All right, all in favor?
All right. Thank you.
All
I have
opposed?
to either recuse or abstain.
Oh,
one or
right.
the other.
Thank you. All right. So you abstain. Okay. Thank you. So, food services.
Yes. Okay. Just like the other two, we issued, this one really has a little more scrutiny on it because the state looks at this particular contract for school food service. And we issued the RFP on January 28th, 2022. It also closed on March 31st, 2022. We advertised the RFP again in the district's website, Union Leader, Eagle Tribune, and Carriagetown News. We received 2 responses, which were evaluated by each of the building principals and myself. We actually had 3 vendors express interest. Much of the proposal is exempt from disclosure pursuant to RSA 95A:5, Roman numeral 4. As it contains confidential information, confidential commercial and financial information. The information, I'm sorry, I'm reading my report. I shouldn't be doing all that. What we did is we did an evaluation spreadsheet, and we have an aggregated master list that we use to help select each of those, select the winning vendor. And what you'll find is that the proposals were excellent and very, very close. It came down to the budget and financial statement components that I may have previously spoken to the school board about. Fresh Picks edged out Whitson's on the calculation of meal productions because there was an error in their proposal. Let's see. I also want to make sure that it's clear that the proposals were very good. Okay. I expect them when Whitson's comes back for the next round of proposals that they're going to be far more competitive. Okay. So at this point, I'm recommending Fresh Picks as our school food service provider.
For what period of time?
It's going to be for a 5-year contract.
5 years?
Well,
Did you say 5?
5.
if the if the competitor you think is going to come back with a better deal, why are we going to go 5 years with Fresh Picks?
We'd have to go into non-public for me to answer that.
Okay. Do you have to have a decision tonight?
We can wait.
What's the board want to do?
You can wait.
You want to wait until the next meeting?
You can do a straw poll of the board.
We have a non-public tonight, right?
We do.
Yes.
Yes.
We could just review it then.
Yep.
And if we're satisfied with that and we still want to proceed, we could come out and
We
do it at
can
coming
come
out of it.
and vote. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think some of the questions you're asking, you had answered.
Right. And if, yeah.
Okay.
I think we can probably.
When we do that, then we can come back out, and if we're ready at that point in time, fine. If not, we delay it.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll hold that temporarily. All right, I thought I just saw Chris.
Mr. Rozier's on there.
Oh, all right, we'll move on to the math program.
Good evening, everyone. So tonight we're seeking board approval for the 612 math program reveal. The ISA subcommittee has already vetted the program, as Tammy spoke to earlier tonight. So thank you, Tammy, very much. The program would provide continuity for our 612 grade level students at the secondary level. So the program would include the following. For the middle school, a student journal, which is like a workbook that students would be able to use and bring home. They also would have online standardized tests that they would have access to, the teachers, and also a computation practice component within this as well, which is a Desmos component. So this would be for grades 6 through 8. For the high school, this would include a hardcover textbook, also part of the computation practice and the standardized tests. The high school is already currently using, and they're utilizing for intervention as well. They would also have the Desmos purchased within that. This would be the hardcover textbooks, and this purchase would cover Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2 courses. Approving this purchase of this program at this meeting would get the district the list of books and get on the list from the company. So we would have the materials in time, not only for our teachers, but for our students next fall. Any questions? Yes.
So you mentioned geometry and algebra. How do our calculus, are those subjects, are those different? Are those not covered? Is that like a kind of a different program? Or how is that?
Yes, so not every student would take calculus. That would be more of an elective math course.
Okay.
So it's not something that would be part of this. We could make it part of our purchase if we wanted to.
Is that something that you guys have considered or entertained, or you just haven't gotten?
We haven't even considered that yet. This was something that just for the high school, it was looked at for Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2 currently.
Okay.
If it's something that the board decided to look at for calculus, like pre-cal and calculus, we could look at that as well.
Any questions for Christine?
I know a lot of hard work's gone into this, and I just want to thank you for all the effort.
Honestly, the thanks really goes to the teachers who piloted this program. The middle school piloted another program. The teachers jumped in with both feet. They've done the really heavy lift with this, as well as Steve Kay at the high school, Patty, and Donna.
Well, major thanks to all of them.
I will thank them.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Jamie?
Yeah, I just want to make a few comments on it. I was involved in the review of the math program, talked to the teachers involved. This goes back, if you recall, we had everyday math originally in K through 6. We put that through the same scrutiny when we started to look at the other programs, and we found that the everyday math program that we had been using failed both of the gates, both of the different criterion that we were using to evaluate these new programs. What we were using failed both of them in terms of rigor and in terms of basically driving student achievement. At that point in time, we looked at two programs that came neck and neck into being chosen. One was Envision and one was Reveal. The main reason we went with Envision is established, known program that was in use in the industry. Reveal K through 6 was a new program just being piloted by Reveal. And while we were piloting their pilot, we'd say, well, where's the backup on the internet resources for this? And they'd say, oh, we haven't written that yet. So we made the decision to go with Envision, but they're very, very similar programs. And so now we're going with Reveal. High school decided first on a Reveal program for algebra, algebra 1, and geometry. Spent a lot of time with those folks. Very solid program. They wanted textbooks, hardcover textbooks. Very clearly was their preference. This is what we want. And they very much like this program. It actually had differentials in it where it would say, here's sample testing. If you get 90 to 100, go to these other tests and these other practices, and that will help excel you further along. If you're 70 to 90 on the testing, do this other set of practice problems that'll help cement your knowledge. And if you're below 70 on the testing, take this other set of problems to be able to help you get to the point where you're supposed to be on your knowledge. So very good differentiated program, very well received by the high school. So we had an Envision that was very much in alignment with the high school Reveal. And then the middle school took a quick look at the middle school Reveal and agreed that we now have one consistent program, K through 12, of the core basic math. To your point, Maura, the calculus and pre-cal, there are books for those. Those are specialties. We wanted the main program that everybody's go through to have that consistency across the range. So I very much support the program. It's very much in line with a traditional math approach, going from K to 12 for our kids. So,
And I just want to add, honestly, I mean, I looked at the program. There's going to be pros and cons to every program out there. Nothing is perfect. I said that before. But to see the excitement in the teachers when they were talking about it and how ready they were to just jump in and start using it, I was sold. I mean, that's when you have teachers that are excited to teach, you let them run, you let them go, you give them the program. I mean, that's what they want. If they're excited, the kids are excited. So it was really nice to see them really wanting to move forward with this program. So I fully support the teacher's choice on this. Absolutely. So
Vote.
we just need a vote, right?
yeah, move the
All right.
vote.
All in favor? All right, unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
thank you.
you. All right, outdoor space.
All right. Yeah.
Yes,
I'm gonna
Mr.
s-
Malila.
So Mr. Angel, again, Matt Malilla, principal of middle school here. What was the board shared exactly, just so I'm aware of, I don't want to restate or describe things that,
All I did is I described to the school board that the modifications are going to be done here in the lawn area by the bus loop. And frankly, if you guys want to walk it, we should take the time and walk out there so you can see it. Okay. Modifications are as follows: construction of what's called a Gaga pit, which is an octagonal structure that is waist high, where children play a game of inside of that structure that's like dodgeball, and they hit the ball with their hands towards the other player but below their knees, and the other player has to dodge the ball. We also spoke about construction of a non-regulation sized basketball court. The price for the half court, it was priced as a half court at $16,631, and include asphalt striping and a commercial grade basketball hoop with stand.
What was that number again?
$16,631.
Thank you.
And just to be clear, administration takes no position on which item to install. We do have the wood on hand for the Gaga pit. And we also have our Principal Malila has other ideas to add to that space. I think you had like a I don't know what you called it. It was like a bag with those boxes that you toss at.
Cornhole.
Cornhole.
Yeah. So the 2 years the middle school's been up here, the students been using this lawn area, but it's, to have an effective recess, you need a defined area, which you could argue it's defined, it's not defined. You need to be well supervised, and we can cover that, but you also need things for kids to do, and there is nothing to do out there but jump on each other, run around, maybe throw a ball that a kid brings in. So Mr. Stack has built multiple Gaga pits with his Boy Scouts. The lumber's already been purchased. It's already been cut by our high school shop kids with a miter saw. Mr. Stack and I, who've done this work on our own, are going to supervise some students, middle and high school students out here to assemble it. It's really fairly simple to assemble. It's a large space though. It's probably as large as this. It's almost as large as this area you're sitting in. You'd all fit inside of it easily. And there are a number of them in the community. I'm sure Mr. Stack could give you the locations if you wanted to, check them out yourself. What we're proposing for a surface out here is not just a basketball court. It's gonna be like a half court on one side with hoops that can come down, because we might use this for graduation, or you could use it for concerts, music concerts. We're hoping to have a little paved access way out there, so our band kids can wheel things out, and you could set up concerts out there any time of year. It wouldn't even have to be school concerts. It could be community concerts. But again, on the other side, the other half of that court, you could have Foursquare or other things set up that kids who aren't playing basketball can do on the surface as well. So it would serve multiple purposes. We've talked about other things, whether it be cornhole or frisbee. Someday we could have a small outdoor classroom out there, which is really just a seating area. We have a number of Boy Scout troops in the area that might have a project they would like to donate. Mr. Doyle is bringing some metal picnic tables over soon from, I believe they're stored at Memorial, but don't quote me on that. But the space is really underutilized. If you walk out, there's this large lawn. It's just a lawn, and we could really, as a community, utilize that space. So that's really kind of the vision. These two initial projects, the surface with a half court basketball court and the Gaga pit, are just really the beginning stages of this, to provide our kids something to do, when they go out for a break or for recess. And when Mr. Ambrose and I met with 5th and 6th grade parents multiple times this spring and winter to talk about the move up here, that came up. There's nothing outside for these kids to do if they want to, go outside. If we're going to offer them a 15-20 minute recess in the morning between classes or after lunch, and that came through loud and clear that we need something for them to do. But, yeah.
So I played both dodgeball and basketball with enthusiasm. But what's the surface for the Gaga pit, the playing surface?
I guess it can be anything. I haven't seen it played in there. I've been told you could have anything. I've heard wood chips are not ideal. You could go with a grass surface or some kind of like pea stone is supposed to be ideal. I haven't seen it.
It's dirt. 9 times out of 10, it's
Yeah.
dirt.
It's there.
Yeah.
Dirt or
Stay brown.
sand.
Like a packed dirt?
It's
That's what they
We'd
have.
just be
it-
placing
like
this
it's
thing
just
on the
back.
ground
Yeah.
and doing no other improvements to
It
the
started as grass and it
Yeah.
turned.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
I
it's,
see.
I think it
has to
can't
go
be
away quick.
dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mr. Stack, I wish Brian Stack was here. He could speak to it, but he's seen it in action. I guess
Oh,
kids
it's a
absolutely love
fun
it.
game. The kids love it.
Yep.
You're gonna have kids fighting in line to get a turn.
Yeah.
How intense the kids like it.
Well, hopefully we have enough for them to do, and there'll never be more than 100 kids out there at once. So we're not going to have all 269 kids out there next year at the same time. So it'll either be somewhere between 100 and 70 kids. But
Sorry,
I guess
hold on.
I'd like to say too, at that point, I
That's
don't,
fine. She can go.
Okay.
oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I do have something to say, but you go ahead.
as a parent of a fifth and sixth grader, I think this is a great idea. And I like how you said it's a starting point. I agree with Heather. You're going to have kids fighting over it. I think we're going to need more, but I think it's an excellent idea. So
I mean, it's really considering the size of it. When you get the materials, it's really not that expensive. And if you do all the work in house, what you can do, it's
Yeah.
simple, just screwing. You miter the wood in the wood shop, and then just a matter of just screwing the wood together and putting the posts in, and then putting your rail around the top. It's very simple construction. Yeah, and we'll have the kids involved too. We'll have volunteers come out with us and do that.
that's awesome.
Tammy,
Okay,
give-
so I'm going to be the wet blanket here, actually, because I don't know, how many people are aware, but the space out here, if we're talking about the library lawn, is that what we're talking about?
Yes, right.
Right out here, that space is not developed for a reason. When the high school was built, that space was set aside for potential expansion and addition. If there was any reason why we wanted to put an addition on this, that's what that's for.
Yep.
So a few years ago, not the greenhouse that's in existence now, but there was a greenhouse proposal about 5 or 6 years ago. And I had community members come to me because it was proposed for that space. I had people come to me and say, I don't care where you put the greenhouse, but don't put it there because that's there for a reason. So I think before we commit, as a board, I think we need to carefully consider whether we're, committing that space to any permanent development, because we're tying the hands of future school boards in the district to be able to expand. We need to think about
Yeah,
that.
the Gaga pit's going in the far corner, so that's nowhere near that. It would be I believe I should have my notes in front of me. Is it 56 by 60, Mr.
Yeah, that
Angel?
sounds correct.
A 60 by 56 foot paved area is
Yeah.
what it would.
I just think we need some care. We probably want to walk the,
Yeah, we can-
space, and you
can walk
need
it.
to lay out exactly what you're planning to make sure that, again, that we're not tying future, board's hands.
The Gaga pit won't interfere at all. It's the
I see Matt's over there trying to make
the basketball hoop, the court is
Yeah,
according to this right in that area.
and
we're
that's-
talking about.
and that's correct. Yeah, the Gaga pit won't interfere with any future development of that parcel. Actually, the Gaga pit would go over what's currently the leach field of the high school, or it's one of 3. And that installation there won't impact the leach field whatsoever. Now, the basketball court was planned in the area of the expansion, but if the district decides to do an expansion off that, just scraping that basketball court off of it wouldn't take that much. They would take a tractor and it'd be gone in a day,
Few hours.
few hours.
Correct.
I don't think that I think that the $16,000, as somebody who approved the sixth graders coming here,
Exactly.
one of the things in the back of my mind was that future expansion, and that is in the back of my mind at some point. I don't see it happening in the next couple of years. Even if it did, there'd be years of, I don't know, architects, or I just don't see it happening really quickly. I think that it would be worth it, even if we just had it for a couple of years, 2 years, 1 year. I think it would be worth the $16,000 to keep those kids active outside if we had to come back with a tractor and take it up.
Sorry, I'm going to ask one question. Is there, just so we are clear, is there another possible location for it?
Well, it can't go.
I know I can see on the.
Because of the
site plan,
is the septic on there?
septic, Yeah.
I mean, we could. I haven't seen if we could, hug it in here, because I don't know where the expansion was. I was just
Yeah.
kind of asked to, pick a spot out there, so we could see if we could tuck it in an area that doesn't impact septic. Mr. Angel may know. You looked at the plans more closely than I have. I didn't anticipate that question coming up tonight about the expansion of the building, so I wasn't prepared to answer that. Sorry.
We could put it over the leach field of the septic system. It would just really depend upon the weight of the equipment that we put on it. But I think the leach field could support the weight of the basketball court itself. Okay. But it poses, I think, a problem for the distance that the kids have to travel to have, you're putting all your kids at the far end of the field. Now, if you move it closer, there is a drainage area that's closer to the building, and it slopes down into a cauldron that's near the bus stop. So we could, I think it would be, if you want a different location, I think we can go back and reevaluate that and come back at the next meeting. But I would want to push forward with the Gaga pit.
Oh,
Jim, do you wanna
Jamie,
go?
yeah, you were first.
Doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Rick.
Yeah, so more to your point, I think I said this when I came on the board. I didn't vote for the kids to come up to the school, but they're here. And what I will say is I will vote for everything that's put in front of me to make their lives better. Auditorium, track, this. Future expansion area for what? Like, what are we expanding for? Every time I sit in one of these meetings, I hear about a dwindling enrollment. So like, why not put it there? To your point, right, Jim? Scrape it off. Probably take 5 minutes. So I don't see why we would wait.
So I have a question. What is it about the numerous half basketball courts in the building that are insufficient for basketball needs that you have to build one outside?
Can't use them.
Recess.
Yeah.
So
Outdoor.
To go outside.
Go
Are you
outside.
talking about the gymnasium, Jamie? Mr. Fitzpatrick, talking about in the
Yeah.
gymnasium? Well, they're in use. The high school is using them all morning. So they're not available when those middle school breaks would be in the morning.
that's a scheduling issue, is it not?
I don't
Now
think
you're
you
gonna
can
split more
impact
kids
it.
going up for recess. You're gonna have some
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
that way, some going that way.
So I have also voted against the move, but I'd have a different position than Mr. Edelman. When the move was sold, it was sold, there's no cost. And now they have a move, hey, I got all kinds of costs I could spend. I just don't see the need for a basketball court outside. We have basketball courts inside. That can be scheduled. This was sold as there's no costs. Mr. Angel just said basically the administration is agnostic about the use. He'd like to proceed with the Gaga pit. The Gaga pit makes a lot of sense to me. Our kids are cutting it. Our kids are building it. Our kids are going to be playing in it. That is very good. And the price is 1/10 of the price of the basketball court. So I can't support a basketball court.
I mean, it's a half a basketball court. It's half of it's basketball, half is other things, but yeah.
So the other things, one of the things you mentioned is, we could use it for concerts, but we're also being asked to pay $70,000, $80,000 to upgrade the auditorium for concerts. So we're asking to be, at some point in time, there's a limit to we want.
Well, I think to be fair, we were asked to upgrade the auditorium because it's old and the equipment is failing and it needs to be upgraded. Let's not confuse, that, in all fairness, like that'll annoy me a little bit. Like, we're talking about kids and getting them outdoors. So forget the gym, because then you got the problem of my kid was walking to the gym and he saw a high school kid, right? So I can tell you what my kid tells me about recess. It sucks. That's what he says. Okay. And my kid is one of the most positive kids you'll ever meet. I think some of you know him. Recess sucks because there's nothing to do, but he likes to be outside. So I don't know what we're talking about here. I mean, does somebody want to talk about like the mental capacity of the kid being outside versus indoors? What do we do?
Can I make a motion to approve?
I suck in it.
I don't trust the question.
What are we approving? Both or just one at a time?
I guess you want to clarify if you are.
I'd
moving
like to make a motion to approve to put a basketball court in Gaga pit
as proposed.
as proposed.
And I second that.
Um,
Am I allowed to make a statement?
Not really.
Not really. It kills me. All right, any further discussion?
Well, I'd like to see two motions, but the motion's been made, so.
Oh, is there, I guess I don't know how's that work? Was I not
You
supposed to
can do it
like
as,
that?
you can do it as one whole,
Just one for the Gaga pit and then
or you can do them as
the
two
basketball
separate.
separate.
Oh, okay. Should I amend my emotion?
It's your motion.
Yeah, it's your motion. You don't have to.
You can do it however you
So if you
like.
guys shoot it down, we can revisit just the Gaga pit? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because
Sure.
we don't pass both, then they don't get either. So I think
Okay.
we should.
Well, you
do-
can make another motion.
Yeah.
You can make another okay, I'm gonna keep my motion.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Policies for review.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Policy EEAJ.
All right.
Heather or Matt or both?
I can talk about it. Wait a minute. I gotta put on my other glasses. Um, I'm sorry. I was still stuck on the last item.
I'll see if I can pull it up.
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
Okay, so basically this policy, with renting vans and having employees of the district drive the vans and transporting students, we currently don't have a policy that allows that. And what this policy does is, well, it's exactly that. I'm trying to think of some of the questions that came up. Well, what the vans are going to be used for primarily are going to be athletics. And so it's going to be operated out of the athletics department. And it's also going to be used secondarily for special education. And the drivers that are going to be driving for the vans are going to have to take a little driver education course. They're going to have to inspect the van before they go through and drive the vehicle with students in it. And we're going to be using it for smaller events, like say, for example, taking, say if you had like a 6-member tennis team and you could take them to an event as opposed to renting a full-size school bus. Now, we'd also, if you took both those vans, you could take an entire team, like the soccer team, to an event. Now, for the cost benefit, what I've said right along is I think it's going to be more cost neutral. There are instances where we would be saving money. What we've been finding over the last couple of years is difficulties trying to find a bus for transporting these kids. And we've had to hire coach buses at a significant cost. What we're finding, or what we're hoping is that this will provide or allow the school district more latitude in making choices as to what they can use the buses for. And it's just going to make our lives easier. Okay. That's it.
You want to weigh in on the policy?
Yeah, so the committee believed that it was an important policy. It would be helpful. I think Mr. Dawson had quoted it costs like $10,000 for one coach bus that he had to rent last year. Not 10,000, sorry.
1,000.
Oh, 1,000, sorry, my brains. But Mr. Dawson had said that it was financially impacting us, and the tennis team had to sit on the bus to around to Hudson to then go to Conval and then get picked up. So, we're having kids on buses for a really long period of time as well. So the policy committee was in agreement in moving forward with this. So I'd like to make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous?
Great, thank you.
All right, policy for access control.
We're
Sorry.
we're asking to table that one.
Okay,
I don't have that.
saw it after I read it. All right, Matt, you have a track update?
Yes. So at the last school board meeting, the school board, I presented a a proposal for the school board to accept. The school board asked me to obtain a longer warranty period where that vendor only provided 1 year. And I asked that vendor, they would not go beyond the 1 year. So just so that the community knows, I asked the school board to approve the proposal with a 1 year via email, and resoundingly, the school board did not accept that proposal. The school board asked me to go out and obtain an additional quote, and we've actually contacted as many firms as we can find from here to Texas. And I believe there was it's somewhere between 4 and 6 firms. We have a firm that is coming up from the Cape to provide us a quote. I was hoping to have that quote today so I can present it to the school board, but they haven't provided it yet. Okay, so that's the update.
Okay. Thank
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for doing that,
Yep.
Matt.
Hey,
Appreciate it very
it's
much.
not a problem.
We're all very eager to get it done. All right, auditorium.
Okay, now I have to pull up Gordon's report. Now, before I jump into Gordon's report, we're having difficulties with our vendors trying to secure cost proposals. So unfortunately, we're doing these things in piecemeal. So this is a report from Gordon. And what he's saying is most of the current audio technology in the auditorium is original to when the school was built. The audio system needs full replacement and the ability to live stream or record events, and they should be added. Our AV team, or our AV vendor, which is AVI Pro, upgraded all the video needs in the spring of 2020, other than the projector screen. We now need to upgrade all the audio components of the auditorium. This includes microphones, amplifiers, speakers, and mixing board. These upgrades will also give us the ability to use microphones in the portable rack that the school board, which is the school board mics, to be used in the auditorium. So if you look at the portable rack over there, you can see that there's an antenna there for the portable mics. This is a big deal as it'll allow events like drama performances to use more than 12 microphones for their shows. These upgrades will also allow portable rack to use microphones from the auditorium if needed for bigger meetings like the joint school board and BudCom. In addition to the audio upgrades, we'd like to install equipment to allow live streaming and recording of events. The goal is to teach the student AV group that handles audio and lights for events. This is a good learning opportunity for the students and also a selling point for anyone who wishes to rent out the space. The fiscal impact, the proposed cost for the audio equipment and projector screen is $69,320, including labor, shipping, and lift rental. The cost to add live streaming and recording equipment is $8,524, including labor and shipping. A copy of the audio, well, he provided you a link for the quotes, and the source of funds would come from year-end funds. And what he's recommending is to move forward with these upgrades, and they should last a few years. I'm sorry. We have seen a rise. Okay, so what he's also saying here too is we've seen a rise in failing equipments over the last couple of years, and we need to address those issues. I also have to point out that Gordon couldn't make it here tonight. Otherwise, he'd be standing there.
I do recall approving an audio system upgrade in the auditorium and facilities a couple of years ago, because there was issues in meetings and presentations that Tom was doing.
It's this.
It wasn't just, it was in the auditorium though.
I don't believe it was in the auditorium.
was it these microphones though that were in the auditorium?
Yes,
Oh, that
I-
could
I
be.
think it
Okay.
was with these, yeah.
Yes.
in the auditorium.
So is that it, just the microphones?
yes, it was upgrading the sound
Oh,
in that so that we could have these microphones.
okay,
Yeah, I know.
right, that, yep. So all of that equipment is included in that upgrade.
Yeah, so it sounds like what they're wanting to do is integrate that with the audio system in the auditorium so that they can have split sessions going on.
Yeah.
So you can say, for example, present in here and it's also presenting over there. And someone over there can also communicate with the group in here.
I still have concern that we're spending $70,000 with one quote. So the policy is 3 quotes. Why do we not have 3 quotes?
In this particular instance, this is the audiovisual vendor that the district's been using, and they're most familiar with this particular system.
But the policy is still 3 quotes.
Okay.
So I would like to see the 3 quotes to understand what it is that it's competitive or not competitive.
All right.
It's very easy for somebody that's already embedded into a district to just make a lot more money on the district without having to do a competitive quote.
I have the same concern.
All
I
right.
think, Matt, to be fair, this is like the second time that we've had this. So let's make sure we have 3 quotes for everything. And I think things will move a lot smoother and quicker.
Or at least
And I'd also like to see one package here for the auditorium, because like getting it piecemeal is not helpful for me personally. I want to see, like, from what I understand, there's lighting involved, there's sound involved. I see a screen now. I would like one package presented. So we know now if that's not the same vendor doing all one thing, I understand that. But I would like one package as soon as possible.
One more question.
Hold on a second. So yeah, I would also, I mean, we do keep saying we need 3 quotes because that is the policy and we really are getting scarily away from that. And I understand there are situations where you just don't get 3 quotes.
Sure.
But we just need documentation to prove that we've tried and people have refused to
Mhm.
give quotes.
Okay.
That's important. We need, we
Alright.
just need it documented.
I just want to address one thing that Rick said. I would prefer to have a complete package to hand to the school board. That is absolutely my preference. In this particular case, we're getting pieces piecemeal, and we're not able to get our vendors moving on this fast enough.
Yeah.
Even to my pleasure.
Understood. I'm not, if I don't want you to think something's-
Yeah.
but I think we approved certain things, like just to the point where Jim just brought up, I thought we approved that before, and we were talking about the microphones, right? So I think we talked, Gordon presented something a couple weeks ago, IT and something at the auditorium, and I think it would just make everything run smoother, clear up the confusion if we had a package.
Sure. Okay.
Dawn?
Yes.
Yeah, this equipment we're talking about is not exclusive to one vendor, I would think. It's not proprietary equipment. There's other vendors if we have a particular equipment in mind that has to all be integrated, but there must be other, multiple vendors that provide this equipment, I would think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hear it loud from the school board. If we can go out and get 3 quotes.
Okay.
I do have to say it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's, I'm willing to help.
It's fine.
I'm willing to help.
Mhm.
So if you want help, let me know.
Okay.
Tammy?
I have a question regarding the funding portion of this. It doesn't sound like we're going to make any decision tonight, but it's saying here that you're intending that the funds would come from the unexpended funds at year end. I'm wondering why would we not consider using the facilities revolving fund for this? I think I would like to consider that when we have this discussion ultimately. It seems a perfect tie because the facilities revolving fund is partly funded. I know now it's funded mostly by rents from the Seacoast Learning Collaborative but I think it has been funded by entities that have rented our facilities, I assume including the auditorium, or that was the intent anyway. So it just seems like that would be a nice, that would be a nice marriage there. And I think it would I would feel more comfortable, I think, than to keep continuing to draw down from the unexpended funds at the end of the year.
Or did you have something? Oh, okay. All right, so I guess we are pulling this one. All right, second public comment. Again, first name, last name, town you're from, and agenda item you are speaking to. And we have a 3-minute timer.
Jocelyn Lampron, looking to Newton, New Hampshire, also a student. Looking to talk on middle school outdoor space 7.4, which is on the agenda. First thing I want to say, I appreciate that the band was considered, as already a lot of decisions that have been made by the school board are cutting down what the band is able to do, such as our schedule next year is going to make people take time out of their schedule and go during an FLT where they would be able to work on schoolwork to go to band so that they can get band all 4 years. So I think that allowing the band to be able to have concerts out there and considering that graduation out there allows the band to be able to do more, as we are on the football field this year, which is awesome. We're all very excited, but it means that we are not able to play as good of a song out there because getting all the equipment down to the football field is quite a trek, and after graduation can take lots of time getting it up. And it's also a lot of expensive equipment that I'm assuming you guys do not want to replace should something happen. So we had to cut down our song and play a song that it's a great song, but not something that shows our full potential. And it's kind of stinks for the seniors because the seniors go through these 4 years, and usually on the lawn, it is a great experience where you get to pick one song from your 4 years that you really think spoke to you and kind of resonated as your experience. So being able to still use the lawn, in my opinion, is a great option because yes, it means that they can have Gaga in a basketball court, but it also means that graduation can still be on the lawn. And for the kids that want to be in band and want to be able to do different concerts, it adds a bonus, in my opinion. Like, I think it's amazing. I think there'll be a lot of teachers backing you up on that outside because it is hard. We've done it for homecoming games, but even getting it down to the bleachers is difficult. So I think that's an awesome option. But I think it should be able to be used for kids. That's just my opinion on it. I get we're doing things in the auditorium, but the auditorium is used for many other things, such as school board meetings, plays, band concert, chorus concerts. But outside, it's a different type of thing. It's an extra addition, and we might be able to do more in the community. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rhiannon Hardy. I'm a former teacher at Sanborn. I'm a 22-year Newton resident. I want to speak first and foremost about 7.2.3 food services. Why can't that be available to the public? That's something important and we need to know. I'm going to talk now about 7.4. Rick had mentioned about middle school, the outdoor recess sucking. It sucks. I will tell you, every kid goes out there, they idle on their cell phones or they cause trouble. They just do mayhem and it's unsupervised chaos. The more activities we can put out here, the better. Why is that middle school not open? That's my biggest priority. We're going to spend all this money to make this school a middle school. It's not built as such, but I will not go further. I'm just saying think of all the money we're spending to make this into a middle school. We could have just kept that one open. I'm going to tell you that. And I'm PO'd. Okay. The next thing, as far as someone mentioned the basketball courts and the gyms that we use, well, half that's going to be a cafeteria. Let me tell you, that cafeteria is so small, they don't even know what the lunchroom situation is going to be. There's a cafeteria in the gym. No kids get to access those basketball courts. Put one outside, put two outside. The more that keeps these kids at this school, the better, because this area can be very toxic if kids are not actively involved. Addiction, that runs very heavily in our grounds. I'm telling you, make the school a better place. Make it an environment kids want to be at, because I will tell you more than anyone, I graduated here. I failed here, but I'm not failing anymore, but you can fail. And these children, they want a place that they feel like they're at home. And I think we have a great group of kids here. I will tell you this, these are amazing children. They deserve the best. As far as the music thing is concerned, yes, the band deserves more, but I mean, you're replacing somebody that was doing the band and things like that. And now you're talking about audio and equipment. I mean, I think that should be less of your priorities. You should focus on staff and just really making these kids feel heard, because I know Tom Ambrose came in last year and he's interviewed my senior classes and they had some really great ideas and not one of them is instilled. I remember I had a group of kids and they said, we'd really like a student of the month again. It builds morale. It makes kids want to have grades. It makes them want to come to school. That's very simple to do. Post a student of the month. And you can't even do that. That's free. It's things like that that make children want to come to school. And I'm going to say that to you. And I just worry about this because we have some great children. This is a small school. The culture can be rebuilt, but it needs to be. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right. All right, next Sanborn Regional School Board meeting will be held Wednesday, June 1st at 6:15 PM in the library at the Sanborn Regional High School. And we will go into non-public if someone, yep.
So 6:15, not 6:30?
Yeah, what, wasn't it 6:30?
I don't know. I'm reading what's on here. We're going to verify. It might
Okay,
be
I just-
6:30.
I don't want the
The schedule
public to be
has been,
confused.
the schedule's been modified and we're,
6:23
it might be 6:23.
and a half.
It will be posted on the SAU website, the
So-
time.
Before we go into non-public, can we get a break?
Yes. Do you want to go
Well,
into non-public?
mon-
Sure, and we
non-public.
Usually,
You got to
we
read
usually
it
go into
first.
non-public and then we take a quick break while everybody clears up.
Oh, okay. I move that we go into non-public session RSA 91-A:3(2).
Second.
All right. Roll call vote. Maura,
Yes.
Jim,
Yep.
Tammy,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
myself, yes. Heather,
Yes.
Rick.
Yes.
All right.